Karina. It's invaluable for you to be with us and explain to us what we're doing.
Sure.
So I appreciate it. This class is really excited that you were coming. And just so you know, we just finished our readings on security and information security. And it seems to be so theoretical many times that I wanted you to break that down to
Absolutely.
practical applications. Plus, I'd like you to introduce yourself and talk about your role at the university. And then, do you have any slides that you want to share?
No, I figured we
Okay,
keep it more conversational.
perfect.
So, um,
I like that. Sometimes,
okay,
after a conversation, nobody says, I wish I saw one more slide because they can
true.
see many slides on the internet as well. So if you
All
can
right.
just introduce yourself and we can
Absolutely.
start the conversation.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Rush, for the invitation to participate in this today. My name is Karina Mandy. I am Director of IT Security Operations for the University of Miami, and the University of Miami as a whole enterprise, not just for the academic portion. We also do the health and obviously the athletics and research. In my role, I've been in the University of Miami for the last, it's been about 2.5 years. Prior to that, I used to work also in security at another health system, primary care for ChenMed. And before that, worked at Mount Sinai as well as security engineer. My work has always been in IT. That's the only thing I worked on. And been through the ranks. So I started as a help desk, was able to move into an engineering position, eventually did my master's in cybersecurity, and was fortunate enough to be able to start working on cyber ever since. So I have 20 plus years of experience in IT and cyber. Probably dating myself then, but that's who I am. My role here at the University of Miami entails securing the University of Miami. That includes patient data, that includes your data as students and faculty and staff's data. Making sure that we don't show up on the news because of any cyber events. Um, I will continue talking about our role here at the University of Miami, but I want to ask you a question. Um, how many of you can tell me how many apps do you currently have on your phone?
Maybe we can start with one of the students. We can call and they can, you
I
want
get
to
to
know how
call
many
people by
they've loaded
names.
onto their phone?
How many apps do you have on your phone? How many apps do you download on a weekly basis or maybe monthly
I
on
would
your phone?
I would say maybe like around 30. Like I have
30
30 total.
apps.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that more or less what everybody,
And
how often do
Issa,
you
what do you
download an
do?
app?
How many apps do you have?
Did you say Issa?
Yeah,
Probably around 50.
around 50. Okay. And
Okay.
Devin?
I guess Devin is,
Devin, do you hear? How many apps
I
do you
am. I'm sorry,
download?
I was muted.
oh.
I'll say roughly 50 or more.
50 or more.
Yeah.
So when you download an app, do you do any research on the app? What permissions is the app requesting? Have you guys seen that message that says, hey, this app is requesting privacy, camera, microphone, and location? Does anybody read the message before you click allow?
I usually do. Before downloading, I usually see like reviews if it isn't like a known app, like Instagram or I don't know, some app that is commonly known. But if I'm downloading an app that not a lot of people have, I tend to see the reviews or maybe like do a quick search to see if it isn't some type of virus.
Got it. Anybody else does any other type of review before downloading or hitting allow?
And they also have basically they have a contract there. sometimes of many pages. And I must admit, sometimes I just say agree and I don't read
True.
all
But
those,
it,
besides the apps of what they cover. Sometimes I don't read those pages of any of those apps that they look like they've been written by numerous lawyers. That if I just,
yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I don't read
right,
those terms and conditions.
right,
However, I would ask you to pay attention to the type of permissions the apps are requesting. Um, if you download a flashlight app on your phone, and this was an actual true thing, there was this app called Free Flashlight app. It used to be in the Android store. And whenever you install this app, it would just ask, hey, requesting permission to location, microphone, and obviously camera. Um, it turned out that this app was recording your location. Nobody pays attention. They just click. I'm gonna, most of us just click allow. I want to use this app and I want to continue. But it was truly recording the location of your phone and selling that to third parties. So people that sell advertisement and things of that nature. Um, so it is real. It happened. This was actually a true case that happened in 2013 with one of this app. This is how they've been changing how the apps are presented nowadays, where they ask you, now it's more straightforward where you have to click allow, I'm going to allow microphone, and then you get another one to allow location. So they're separate so that users like us are more aware of what you're sharing. The reason why this is relevant is because it happens. You just mentioned you have over 50 applications on your phones. I think I probably have a similar number. Every time you hear of something new that might come out, you're like, oh, let me try this app. Like in Instagram. Instagram came up with Threads. Now you have Threads because you want to see the next link that you see on Instagram. So it really becomes relevant. And when it comes to the business environment, most business nowadays, if you bring your own phone to business, they have what's called management profile, meaning you have to register your personal device to be able to be used with business email. And in that process, part of that dictates also the type of applications that you don't want to have unsecure applications on your phone that might leak information of a company. So that was just part of what we all need to be aware of when it comes to the applications that you download and the information that you're sharing out there. Back to my role here at the University of Miami, we deal with the Information Security Operations Center, which we have about 8 and 9 analysts that work 24/7, responding and addressing any security concerns that we might run across. How many of you have had to reset your password recently? Yes. Was anything different this time around from prior, maybe the year before, if you had to reset your password a year ago? Yes. Jack, I saw you move your head. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I had to reset like my Microsoft Authenticator, and you have to go through like a whole process of like you have to like show your ID, or like get on a Zoom call, show your ID, and they like give you like a temporary password, which then like logs you in. But it's like with the old Authenticator, you could just like make a new like password on like any website you wanted to.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more why we had to come up with those methods. Recently in the news, there's been a lot of incidents happening with a particular threat actor group. I don't know if any of you heard MGM a couple of years ago. They were breached because somebody called their IT department. It was obviously a hacker, but it was a English-speaking hacker. That was the first time that we started receiving this type of events where it's an English-speaking person that calls saying, hey, I'm so-and-so from the IT department. I lost my password. I need to fix this server that is, making up this whole story. And the help desk, whose job is to help, was able to provide them with a password. And they gave the password to this hacker who eventually was able to compromise MGM casinos. It became a multi-million-dollar breach. It was all over the news. But as a result of that, we've had to change the way we authenticate our users. And that's the reason why presenting yourself on a camera, and I don't know if this happened to you, Jack, but when you have to reset your password, they will ask you to take off your background and move the badge across your face. Any reason why you think we have to move the badge across your face or remove the background? Any thoughts? Guesses?
Maybe to ensure that it isn't like being added as like virtual reality, like a badge. It's to show that it's a physical.
True. Yeah. So one, to make sure that the badge is real. Any
To make sure
other?
the face is real.
Absolutely. Have you heard of all these AI images? That's a problem. Deepfakes are for real. They really happen. So we have to make sure that when we are authenticating you, that we're taking that into consideration. So the removal of the background, the moving of the ID in front of you is just ensuring that you are who you say you are and that ID is not fake. So that's one of the reasons why we have to adapt as a university with everything that's happening out there. And sometimes we hear it so remote. That happened at Las Vegas, MGM casinos, they're huge. But you would be surprised of the things that we see here at the University of Miami. One of the things that I can mention recently, and this happened, we don't know who it was, but somebody called saying, I am the daughter of the ex-president of the United States and I need to reset my password. No, I cannot get on camera. And, making this big fuss that they needed to do this because they were who they say they were saying, and they needed to reset their password. That person had never studied at the University of Miami, but it's how it comes across to our desktop teams, our help desk team, and our SOC, who has to be super vigilant on who is that person that they're talking. Are they for real? And these things do happen, and more often than not. We've had people that has called the help desk saying, I am Dr. So-and-so, and I need to reset my password. And then this person obviously are going to try to help. But right during that call, we received another call from Dr. So-and-so saying, hey, I received this code that I didn't request to reset my password. And this happened while we were there. It's something that we see day to day. And it's what's made us change the way we authenticate you guys. And unfortunately, it does add to the complexity, but it is necessary to make sure that we maintain the security of the University of Miami. That's from the identity side and how people are authenticated for password resets. We recently switched from Duo to Microsoft Authenticator. I'm sure you're all aware as well. Again, those are security reasons why we have to make sure that we maintain up to speed with the security that it's out there. The previous authenticator wasn't the most secure. There were other ways of bypassing, and that's how we had to adapt. Hunter, you have a question.
Yeah, so one of the things I'm curious about is in regards to using the authenticator, like I understand why when I log onto my laptop, right, it sends a code to my phone. My phone has been previously verified. But why do I still have to use the authenticator when I'm opening Blackboard on my phone?
So if you authenticate on your laptop, who's here to say that it's the same person that's opening Blackboard on the phone? So if you're in two different, your laptop is totally separate from your phone. You have to identify yourself in the different environments because your session on your laptop doesn't get transferred to the phone. So I get it. It's an inconvenience because you just logged in, you just received your code. But let me ask you something. When you log into your bank on your laptop, and then you go log into the bank on the phone, does it ask you to authenticate again, or does it automatically authenticate
Yes.
you? Yes to which one?
It does ask me to authenticate again.
And again, that's the same case that happens when you log in on your computer versus your phone. Even if you're logged in your same computer, but you switch from Google Chrome to Safari, for example, if you're on a Mac, those are two separate sessions. So it will ask you again to authenticate. Now, I guarantee you, if you log in on your computer and you're in Painlink, and then you open another tab and you log into Blackboard on that same session, it will not ask you to authenticate again because it maintains that session and the cookie from when you logged in initially. But the reason why we do that second check is because we want to make sure that it's truly you.
And do you find, Karina, that universities are more vulnerable than other organizations, or there's certain things of why do they like universities so much? What is it there? Students ask me, what are they going to take from me? Why would they want to hack? You know, I don't have anything special on my laptop. Why do they even want to get into our systems?
So our particular university is also a health system. So we have a lot of patient data that even though you might not have direct access, your computer might be in our network already. It just makes things a lot easier. If you're trying to break into a house, you can either go through the front door, which is super locked and super secure, or you can go through a window that might not be exactly direct entrance, but is so much easier. So compromising a student account, you would be surprised how many times we find reports from our security partners that say, hey, we found this username and password in what they call the dark web. It happens. They're real username and password, so they're out there. And a lot of times we have to react to those. So that's why your security is important to maintaining the whole environment security. But not only that, most of you pay to go to university. And your financial information, it is very coveted by those bad actors. So that's another reason why students are another way of getting into the university. George or Jorge, please. You have a question?
Yeah, so quick question. So what's your opinion on having like our passwords? Like I have some passwords written down on my notes and like my socials and for example, like is that a bad idea on my Apple Notes app?
So tell me, to get into your phone, you have Face ID
Yeah, I have Facebook.
and you have a 4 or 6-digit code.
I have the 6 digit.
So you would think you're pretty secure on your phone.
Yeah.
And to open your notes, do you need another code?
No, you don't.
You don't. And you have your screensaver that comes up and locks your phone after how long?
I'm not sure. Couple like 30 seconds, I think.
Possibly. Do you think that in 30 seconds that you leave your phone unattended while you're having dinner, somebody could just grab it in that 30 seconds? It takes 2 seconds actually to
No,
just
for sure.
pass by, grab a phone, and that's unlocked already, and be able to open your notes and then get the keys to the kingdom.
Right.
So
And now from the standpoint of like, can someone hack into your notes?
if your phone is locked, like locked, and
Yeah.
somebody really wanted to log in, I think Apple stand on this. They don't have the way to unencrypt a phone. If we're talking about phone itself, right? Apple claims that they cannot unencrypt a phone, even when the FBI have asked them to unencrypt phones because of investigations. However, if somebody really, really, really wanted that information, let's say your phone and notes has the password to your crypto wallet, they would be able to. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you had that type of information on your phone, I'm sure they would be able to.
Okay.
But now that you mentioned about passwords and how to store the passwords, I think that's one of the topics that it's the easiest one to help with. It's really hard to maintain one password for every site. That's almost impossible. And you remembering the password, right? So do you, besides storing it on the notes, please don't write them down either. Do you have any other methods or suggestions that you might want to share?
I mean, I don't. I wish I knew,
Okay.
but I don't.
Have you heard of password managers?
I mean, I've heard of them, yeah. I just don't know
Okay.
which one to trust.
That's the problem, right? So there was a LastPass is a pretty known password manager. They had an incident. I think it was last year or the year before. I know I had LastPass when that incident happened, and just made me. I had to change, so I switched. So there's multiple password managers out there. I highly recommend you do your research, pick one. I'm currently using 1Password. I'm not advocating, this is not on behalf of the University of Miami or anything. That's for my personal use, because I do use a random password per site as much as I can. It makes my life a lot easier because you just select the site, store it, and it fills it in for you. You don't even have to remember the password. As a matter of fact, I don't remember any of those passwords, only maybe my password because you have to type it. But other than that, it's all through a password manager, because it really makes your life a lot easier and also gives you that safety net that you have different passwords per site. So one of the things that you want to avoid at all costs is having the bank password be the same password that you use to log into your email account. Ideally, you want to have different passwords and different passwords when it comes to once you go into in the business, you want to have one password for not one password, multiple passwords for business related and totally separate ones for your personal accounts. And then whenever you can, pass keys. Have you guys heard of pass keys?
Yes.
Okay. Passkeys is a little bit more secure because it also gets stored on the device where you're generating that. So it actually works as a two-factor and a password. So in the case of password managers, you can store passkeys on password managers, or you store the passkey on your device itself. So if you've recently logged into Amazon, Amazon allows you to save a passkey if you want, instead of using username, password, and then multi-factor authentication.
So you would say that's more secure, right?
As we enhance our security posture, passkeys is the next evolution to get to eventually what's called passwordless. And that is the fact that we don't have to remember a password, but you have something that authenticates you as unique user and the device. So it's not only something you know, it's something you have and something you are, because a lot of these have to do with biometrics as well. So that combination of multiple factors, that's why it's called multi-factor, really enhances the security for that application.
And what is the direction the university is going to be going in?
As of right now, we have started working on the passwordless concept. It does require another device, so something like a YubiKey. A YubiKey is a USB device that gets connected to your workstation or that. But these right here that you just mentioned, this is old type of token that gives you a time-based token. They're very popular. They were a lot more popular back in the day, but they're not used as much. I'm trying to find my YubiKey here. The YubiKey is more something like this device, if you can see it here. And it basically has a little things that you touch on the side, and it allows you to authenticate yourself passwordless. Obviously, there are costs associated with the devices, so it's not everyone, but us in the IT department at the University of Miami all utilize YubiKeys to authenticate. Sophia, you have your hand up?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question. So when you were saying, like talking about having your phone open and someone being able to just take it and, have access to all the information, with physical gadgets that would do the dual authentication, wouldn't that like impose the same issue? Like the person would have access to, in case they did get their hands on like the UBS or the passkey, wouldn't they be able to authenticate themselves and get into your account the same way as if you left your phone open and they got it as well?
That's why the part that combines biometrics into it.
Oh,
So either you have your fingerprint, face ID. That's another type of biometric. I mean, retina scans, but those are not that commonly used. But that's the part that would prevent that from being used by someone else.
sorry, a follow-up. Since the
It's okay.
biometrics are personal, wouldn't that be enough to prove that the person that is trying to access your account is you? Because someone can't recreate your fingerprints as easily. Like if they were able to get their hands on, the physical UBS, they would also be able to go as far as, getting your fingerprint if that was the case.
So if somebody were to take my YubiKey, right? If I leave it, the YubiKeys also have a code. So it's not, I plug it in and it automatically authenticates me. It also asks for a very short code, but it also asks for a code. And then there's the biometrics. So the combination of all these items is what keeps it protected.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if something you are as well. I think those three that you were talking about
It's
are important.
something that would be a passcode or a password. It's something you have, which is the fact that you have that device and you can plug it in. And it's something you are, which is the biometrics part of it.
So
And
it's you and
that's
something you're carrying as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
And something in your mind that you know.
Any other questions?
So how does it work? Can you talk about maybe your day-to-day job? How does it work at the university? It seems when you say you have 8 people working for you, that seems to me so little amount of people that have to, you think of tens of thousands of employees, students, anyone getting even on campus, getting into our network that you have to secure. Plus, I would have thought that they would have had like 2 teams, one for the medical, health, and one for the academic. And even when you think about academic, we have different campuses. We have,
Right.
Erasmus, and we have the Coral Gables campus. And not only that, we have athletics, we have a number of different facilities. So can you talk about that a bit?
Sure. Up to not too long ago, we had 2 separate IT security teams. But as you all might all be aware, we have one enterprise. It's the same network that we share between Rasmus, Cora Gables, and medical, even though we do have mitigating controls in between these two environments. It is one network. And it really couldn't, from a security perspective, we could not support either or unless we were combined. So about maybe 2 years, we combined both academy security team and the medical security team. And our current IT security team is about, haven't done the math, but we have about 9 incident or SOC analysts, which are the ones that call you and say, verify your identity. Besides that, we have a threat incident responder and our SOC director. And all of them have to do with constant alerts and incidents. On the other hand, I manage the security operations and threat and vulnerability management teams. That's 7 more people. In this team, our security operations team takes care of all the tools that we use as far as security. So the antivirus that is on the computers and the servers, how that gets programmed. Whenever there's a new program being installed, whenever there's a new project, our teams get involved and as an advisory kind of levels to make sure that it gets implemented securely and that from a security perspective, everything is in place. From the threat and vulnerability management, that's a small but mighty group of 2 ladies that take care of the threats and vulnerabilities. So every time a new company says, we found this vulnerability on our software, my team goes and makes sure that, number one, the University of Miami does not have that software. And if we do use it, how do we fix it? Does it need to get upgraded? Does it need to be replaced? Whatever the case might be that will fix that vulnerability, that's what that team will continue and make sure that it gets done and remediated.
And how does AI fit in to, I guess, the software, into your work? You hear that?
We're leveraging AI in Copilot agents. So a lot of the times we need to create reporting of, let's say, an email event. We currently use Security Copilot that interfaces with our email system and it's able to tell us who received this email with this subject. And it will give us a report of users. It can help us move those emails out of the persons because we know it's malicious email. It can delete those emails. From Security Copilot, I know some of our analysts have been able to create an agent that reads them or gives them the operating procedures for a particular event. So let's say there's a phishing event. The analyst goes into Security Copilot and says, Security Copilot, or in that agent, give me the standard operating procedure or SOP for a phishing incident. And it will give them a checklist of what they need to complete to make sure that we do all the different tasks that are related to an incident related to phishing. So we're leveraging AI as much as we can. We don't rely just on AI. Our security tools also use AI to alert on behavior. We use CrowdStrike from a EDR or antivirus perspective, and they leverage AI to create detections. So let's say a user receives an email, and within 2 minutes, they click on a link that the system recognizes that link as potentially malicious. And then they see another event of that same user looking into a URL, specific URL, or clicking into a URL. All these events, if one analyst was trying to find this individually would take a really long time to put them all together. But with the use of AI, the AI system is able to correlate these events together and say, this user is potentially compromised because they received this email at this time, they clicked on a link, and they were browsing this malicious site. So all these events in combination are put together to create this alerts. And based on the alerts, our team responds.
So it looks at for patterns. It's great at looking for patterns.
Yeah.
And it knows those suspicious patterns and it can alert, because it seems like it would be impossible for individuals just to follow that. It really can be
Yeah.
helpful. And I imagine on the other end of the hackers are using, where do you see the hackers using AI? Or have you?
So we haven't really encountered that, but we do know that there are AI models out there. If you currently ask ChatGPT or Copilot how to create a phishing email, Copilot or ChatGPT will tell you this is not good, you're not supposed to be doing that, and gives you a very generic answer. But there are systems that will actually are created to be able to give you that information. And they're out there. So our threat actors are becoming smarter because they're leveraging AI. And us as defenders have to leverage AI as well.
It's cat and mouse.
We have to keep up with them.
And what do you love about your job? Because you've been in that field for so many years. You must have some passion about that. What makes you get up in the morning and get excited?
Every day is something new. You never know what you're going to encounter that day. I have my day planned. Most of the time, every day says I'm doing this and that. But if there is an alert where we have to react, we throw everything out, and that becomes the priority of the day. And until that gets remediated or fixed, there's nothing else in our agenda, if you want to call it like that, that we will be looking at. And until that event ends, great, we're able to say, okay, everything is good. And then you close it, and sometimes we've had 2 in a day. And these can last until the wee hours. But wouldn't change it for the world. It's a very dynamic field. You learn a lot. Cybersecurity has everything under the sun. You look at networking, you look at computer management, you have to learn something from AI, you have to understand the business, specifically understand what you're working with. You learn about medical systems, you learn about Canvas, you learn about Blackboard, you learn about K-Link. We need to have some basic knowledge of what we are protecting to be able to truly make a difference. So there's always something.
Well, I thank you. You had such a busy day, and you taking the time out. We are really so appreciative, and you could see our students were really intrigued by what you were saying. And then maybe you can come back another time. It'd be interesting another time to come back and actually show us some of the software that you're actually using in some of the reports. I think that would really make it interesting. What do you think in terms of, how are you tracking, for instance, those emails, and how are you using it, those agents? I think it would be interesting for us to know about. And then maybe later on you can talk about what kind of future, are you hiring interns, what kind of positions, and then they can grow up with you as well.
Yeah, so at the SOC, we are always hiring. The SOC is an entry-level position where usually you go in, you learn a lot of what it means to be in cybersecurity, but also allows you to see which direction you want to take in the cybersecurity space. There's different paths in the cybersecurity area, and they're all varies depending on what you like, right? There's forensics, there's policy and GRC, risk and compliance. There is security operations, which is the tooling. There is malware reverse engineering, which is part of forensics. So there's a vast number of different avenues that you can take in cybersecurity, and not all of them have to be technical. So come join us.
I wanted to thank you so much. Round of applause, really. Thank you so much. And we'll see. You're so kind. You're going to see us in my next section.
Yes.
I appreciate that even after hours at 5:30, and then I'll stay with my class. We'll kind of wrap up and do attendance, things like that. But I appreciate so much your wisdom